Red Fave 48, Episode 33, Chapter 40, and Prologue. Hello, social media mites and mavens. James Homan here. We've come to the end of this memoir. I hope that you've enjoyed it and will like, subscribe, and pass it along to social media friends who may be interested. To recap, amidst a pandemic, two men find love. A fatal diagnosis on April Fool's Day. Reconnecting, enjoying connections, past and present. Finding treasures within loss. Like all lives, this story is one of many ironies. While this path spiraled downward, my hope is that the ending will, to some extent, indicate an upward spiral. And when you next look at the firmament above us that is called heaven, celebrate the stars. So many endings. The end of a decade, the end of a century, the end of a millennium. On a very personal level, I'd also observed the end of my love's life. A dear life that was slowly, progressively diminished from one fully lived while vacationing early years across the world to a life in one country, to one city, to the confines of one apartment, and finally to a life in one bed, in one room. Accompanying Harold was the greatest honor and a great lesson. I had done the best I could for Harold, although nothing would have changed the fatal outcome. The irony of that still hurts. No one ever completely forgets. Endings are not unlike what you learn to do in therapy. You come to understand and anticipate the dread. Then you realize your options and decide which actions to take to reduce that dread. Inevitably, the reality of the ending turns into something you never expected it would be. Aren't endings or letting go or goodbyes of a major part of everyone's maturation? Is anyone good with endings? While I realize that the only permanent aspect to anyone's life is change, I had steeled myself to face endings alone, and as they came, one by one. 3 months after Harold died, I lost my job at Ogilvy One Worldwide. My boss had moved on and her replacement came with another executive assistant. My job had been eliminated. Once again, I became a temporary office employee, basically covering for vacations and maternity leaves throughout corporate headquarters around the city. 1 year and 9 months later, the building in which I had last worked as an executive assistant, albeit on a temporary basis, would be the third building to fall on September 11th, 2001. Fortunately, I had moved on months before. It is the dynamic of these seemingly galactic cataclysms and how we handle them that totally defines who we are as individuals. Our actions define us, our lives, our loves, our triumphs, and our failures. Now living in Western Massachusetts 20 years later, dealing with the COVID epidemic in all its permutations, I have tired of letting go. Realizing maturation involves letting go doesn't make the act any easier. I want to believe that I've come to a point of simply letting. Life is, loss is, letting go is. This was my life, my arc, our circle, and it was squeezed tightly with Harold's death. While I survived, I remained concerned by the many others of our species who continue to disregard their significant responsibilities to their own circle. Yes, it's brief, for some even briefer than expected. To quote a t-shirt cliche, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. It is a very real choice, and the choice you make, like your circle, belongs to you alone. Epilogue. Dearest Harold, as I write this, it has been 20 years since you passed, almost to the day. As eventful as all those years have been, please know that I, your goddaughter Lily, and so many others do remember. Thank you for sharing almost 15 years, as well as your last 14 months with me and so many. Accompanying you was the greatest honor of my life. Having now told our story, our circle feels complete. I want to think that many gods and goddesses have been referenced within it. Writing this has taught me the meaning of the word cherish. Whether my efforts have made little, if any, difference is for others to determine. While I'm experiencing a sort of relief in this closure, it is fairly terrifying to present such intimate details of our life together in print. Its retelling seems to be the reason I am here and why I survived. Truths have indeed changed. My hair has grayed. I've gained 60 pounds. After the turn of the century, Robert and I moved to Western Massachusetts and are enjoying life, a life I could never have imagined. We don't travel as much as we might choose to do because we are house poor, having bought a home built circa 1760, made entirely of chestnut posts and beams. I remember that you'd always wanted to live in an old wooden house, and I bet you and Tramp would be pleased to find me living in this modest wooden antique colonial home. It was constructed while Mozart was composing for the royal courts of Europe. Although I no longer live within walking distance to Lincoln Center, I hope that both you and Tramp would appreciate that the black clay Native American water jar containing your ashes sits prominently on the mantel of one of our 5 fireplaces. By now, you may well have attained a more accurate impression of what life on this planet truly holds for any of us. I've concluded that we are all actually meant to be lost to some extent during our lives, if not its entirety. Some of us find ourselves completely lost, and our journeys become our meaning. Irving Berlin's lyrics about finding good things in the midst of feeling loss continues to strike a poignant chord. AIDS, cancers, brain tumors, along with various pandemics, all continue without cures. A mad, blonde, machine-tanned billionaire with white circles around each eye was elected to the highest office in the free world and still dominates all media. Talk about an embarrassment of riches. The human species, unlike any other species on our planet, seems bent on self-annihilation, whether by illness, terrorism, or fanatical gun violence. As you already know, Mama June died a year and a half after you. And then Uncle Sam, Aunt Gert, Uncle Jules joined your forces. Alan divorced Peter. Our amazing Aunt Billy is still going strong at 96, joyously doing her best to replace Aunt Gert as the family's eldest matriarch. Uncle Mickey and Mary Beth are happily married, and living in Westchester. Both of their children are in college. Michael rides the subway daily into Manhattan with the eldest son of Robert's best friend, Chip, a former roommate from Holy Cross. Go figure, huh? Yeah, the world is getting smaller. Gina and Alan, sadly divorced. Sally and Tricia have also separated for health reasons. Tricia returned to San Francisco and has since joined you, Molly, and Tramp at the Rainbow Bridge. Lily now has an MA in library science and is happily married living in Brooklyn. Sadly, I've lost contact with her and so many of those wonderful people who shared our journey. But I do think of them almost daily and hold them always dear in my heart. Beanie followed Tramp to that Rainbow Bridge in her 14th year. Ironically, she also died of a brain tumor. I hope they're not contagious. Her ashes have been saved and will be added to yours and Tramp's, along with mine, Robert's, and 2 other incredible pets who have captured my heart and intermittently softened the edges of this existence for me, Maggie and Frankie. Please know that I shall continue to love you for helping me find myself, Mr. Bear. My journey, as all journeys are, has been challenging in many ways. Feeling lost has become a modus operandi of sorts, but I'm no longer afraid. I've been challenged on many more levels than anyone ever told me I could be or would be, and in ways that no educational curriculum could have either taught or prepared me. As you know, I've struggled with every molecule in my body against being afraid and living lies. And I have, for the majority of my years, lived according to what were the truths of my life, not the truths of others who may have attempted to impose their truths on me. I have a new perspective on life, Mr. Bear, one that I feel as powerfully as a force of nature. Life is too short. Personal relationships are to be treasured. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for holding me. Thank you for loving me. Your life has given me insight. Within all the arcs of my life, whether with my parents and spouses, whether with my partners and spouses, Christopher, you, or Robert, I continue to maintain only 4 commandments in this life. Be happy, be kind, do good, and love one another. On several occasions, you and I have discussed the subject of absolute truths, beliefs. At this age, it seems to me that yes, truths do exist as valuable touchstones. For example, you cannot sneeze with your eyes open, or no one gets out of this alive. A circle has no beginning and no end. And most importantly, change is permanent. Curiosity continues as both an existential as well as a powerful physical dynamic. I look for answers and significance, yet it seems that nothing much other than death and taxes has been conclusively determined. Now, into my 7th decade, I've come to believe that we all will, once again, return to a place that is all our own among the innumerable stars. I will remain eternally grateful for my incredible life until I too will be lost again, indistinguishably, in a most wondrous firmament. hopefully near yours, out there in the stars. Please know that your star continues to light my path with all my love, eternally, JLH. And that concludes this podcast, this memoir. If you enjoyed this telling, please like, subscribe, and pass it along to social media friends who may be interested. The physical book, which is available through Amazon.com/books, contains 3 appendices, including a poem to Uncle Harold, medications, and photos of us with Tramp and Beanie, as well as acknowledgments and about the author for additional information. I had hoped to add a fourth appendix of Harold singing Lost in the Stars, which he recorded following his 33 radiation treatments, but I haven't yet figured out how to accomplish that. Your comments are always greatly appreciated. Please access www.jlhoman.com for that purpose. And as always, thank you for your time and interest. Until next week, until the next time, whenever, be kind, do good, be happy, and love one another, remembering to coexist with tolerance while embracing similarities and respecting differences. Thank you.